Eala versus Iva Jovic, the best friend battle at Arthur Ashe Stadium. She has never beaten her in 2 tries, not once. And now, in front of a packed Arthur Ashe Stadium, with her own father standing courtside, Eala walked out to face the one player on tour who has owned her head-to-head, her own best friend. Would this finally be the night that changed? Stick around, because what happened in the middle of this match? A secret conversation between 2 rivals that even the broadcast crew couldn't figure out turned this just a fun exhibition into one of the most talked about moments of US Open Fan Week. If you love tennis, Filipino sports pride, or just a good underdog story, you are going to want to see how this played out. Before we get into it, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown like this one. Let's set the scene. This is the Stars of the Open, the US Open's annual exhibition event held during Fan Week at Arthur Ashe Stadium, the largest tennis court in the world. It's a showcase built around some of the sport's brightest young stars, and this year's lineup included names like Marta Kostyuk, Joao Fonseca, Amanda Anisimova, Lerner Tien, and Alex Michelson. But the match that had Filipino tennis fans up before sunrise, glued to their screens, was one specific pairing. Eala against Iva Jovic. If you're not deep into tennis, here's what you need to know about these two. Eala is 21 years old, currently the world number 18, and the pride of Philippine tennis. She's coming off her first WTA singles title, won just weeks earlier at the DC Open, and this US Open marks her second appearance at the tournament after reaching the second round last year. Iva Jovic, on the other hand, is 18, an American rising star sitting at world number 14, with her own WTA title from the Guadalajara Open. This is her 3rd trip to the US Open main draw, and she's reached the second round in each of the previous 2 years. Here's the twist that makes this match so much more interesting than your average exhibition. Eala and Jovic are genuinely close friends off the court. They've even paired up together in doubles, reaching the semifinals of the ASB Classic in Auckland earlier this year. But when it comes to singles, their history together has not been kind to Eala. Before this exhibition, Jovic held a perfect 2-for-2 record against her friend, a straight sets win at the French Open earlier this year, and another straight sets win at the Queen's Club Championships in London. 2 matches, 0 wins for Eala. So when the draw for Stars of the Open put these 2 best friends on opposite sides of the net again, tennis fans knew this wasn't going to be some throwaway, half-effort hit around. And it wasn't, because both players admitted afterward that once the ball started flying, the competitor in them took over. Now here's where the stakes get even higher. This exhibition wasn't just about bragging rights between friends, it was also serving a real purpose. Proceeds from the Stars of the Open go directly to the USTA Foundation, meaning every rally, every point, and every ticket sold was also raising money to support the community. So beyond the entertainment, this match mattered, and Filipino fans showed up in force. Anyone who has followed Eala's career knows the Filipino sports community travels with her. Wherever she plays, and Arthur Ashe Stadium was no exception. The energy in the stands was electric from the very first point. So how did the match actually unfold? It was a one-set affair. First to 6 games, no messing around, straight to business. And Jovic came out firing. She raced out to an early 2-0 lead, looking every bit like the player who has dominated this head-to-head so far. For a few minutes, it seemed like this exhibition might follow the exact same script as their 2 previous meetings. But then Eala started finding her rhythm. Slowly, point by point, she clawed her way back into the match. And here's where the story gets even more entertaining. Midway through the set, after the 3rd game, the exhibition paused for a heartwarming moment. A young player from the Harlem Junior Tennis and Education Program joined Eala and Jovic on court, getting the chance to rally with 2 of the sport's rising stars in front of a massive Arthur Ashe crowd. It was exactly the kind of moment the Stars of the Open exists to create, giving young, up-and-coming talent a taste of the big stage. Once play resumed between Eala and Jovic, the real drama kicked in. Eala kept chipping away, and eventually she leveled the match at 3 games apiece. 3-all. Suddenly this wasn't a formality anymore. This was a genuine fight, best friend against best friend, with the whole stadium locked in. And then came the moment nobody saw coming. In the middle of the set, cameras caught Jovic and Eala deep in conversation during a changeover, and it went on far longer than a normal water break. When on-court host and former pro Andrea Pekovic asked Jovic what the two of them had been talking about, Jovic simply smiled and said they were plotting something. What were two of the WTA's rising stars scheming in the middle of a competitive match? The answer came just a few games later, and it turned into one of the most viral moments of the entire event. After Jovic won the 8th game to push the score to 5-3, both players pulled off their surprise. They brought their own fathers out onto Arthur Ashe Stadium for a lighthearted father-daughter showcase. Jovic's dad took over serving duties, while Eala's father, Mike, stepped in to return. When that setup didn't quite go as planned, Eala herself jumped in as the returner just to keep a short rally going. The result was pure joy, hugs, laughter, and a moment of connection between two families that mirrored the friendship between their daughters. It was a reminder that behind the rankings and the rivalry, these are two young women who genuinely enjoy each other's company. But once the fathers stepped off and the real match resumed, Jovic refocused. She closed out the final 3 games in a row, sealing the exhibition with a 6-3 scoreline in what turned out to be a match completed in under an hour. It wasn't the fairy tale comeback Filipino fans were hoping for, but it was still a fiercely competitive, genuinely entertaining hit between two of the best young players in the world, and it extended Jovic's advantage over her friend to 3 matches without a loss this season, adding the exhibition to her wins at the French Open and the Queen's Club Championships. So does this loss mean anything for Eala heading into the actual US Open? Not necessarily. If anything, it's the opposite. This match served exactly the purpose it was designed for. A competitive, high-intensity tune-up against elite opposition, without the pressure of ranking points or tournament stakes. Both players walked away from Arthur Ashe Stadium with valuable match play under the lights of the world's largest tennis court. Exactly the kind of experience you want in your legs before a Grand Slam begins. And here's the part that should really have Filipino tennis fans excited. Because Eala is seeded 17th at this year's US Open, bumped up a notch after the withdrawal of world number 15 Victoria Mboko, who is still recovering from a knee injury sustained at Queen's Club, she opens her tournament against a qualifier. If she advances, her path could lead to a clash with either Alexandra Olejnikova or wildcard Reese Brantmeier in the second round. But here's the twist that has everyone talking. If both Eala and Jovic keep winning through their opening rounds, the bracket sets up a mouth-watering possibility. The two best friends could meet again, this time for real, with ranking points and a place in the 4th round on the line, as early as the 3rd round of the US Open itself. Think about that for a second. Two close friends who trained together, who've partnered in doubles together, who just shared a tender family moment on the biggest stage in tennis, could be forced to face off again in a matter of days, this time with everything on the line. Would the friendship survive another tense battle? Would Eala finally get the win she's been chasing? Or would Jovic extend her perfect record to 4? That's the story tennis fans, and especially the Filipino tennis community, will be watching for as the tournament unfolds. Eala's US Open campaign actually got underway earlier in the week, when she teamed up with Canadian star Felix Auger-Aliassime in mixed doubles, falling to the veteran wife and husband duo of Elena Svitolina and Gael Monfils in the first round. She's also been sharpening her game in practice sessions with 2-time US Open champion Venus Williams, her doubles partner on tour, ahead of the singles main draw, which runs from August 30th through September 13th. So while the scoreboard read 6-3 in Jovic's favor by the end of the stars of the Open exhibition, the real story is far from over. This was a warm-up, a fundraiser, a friendship on display, and quite possibly a preview of a much bigger showdown still to come. What did you think of the match? Do you think Alex Eala can finally break through against Iva Jovic if they meet again in the US Open? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown, and subscribe so you don't miss our coverage of Eala's run through the tournament. This is one storyline you will not want to miss.